Hi, everyone. I'm really sorry I'm not here with you today. I hope that you guys are following the directions of your guest teacher. We're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to paint our clay today. Just a quick heads up and a quick reminder about the importance of our discussion time at the carpet. If you are not following expectations, then your guest teacher does not need to give you your clay project to paint. We have to make sure that we're being held accountable for our actions, keeping our bodies to ourselves, keeping our voices at a voice level 0 anytime a speaker is talking, like myself or your guest teacher. And just making sure that we're keeping my supplies safe and doing the right thing, even when a teacher's not looking. Okay, so let's jump in and learn a little bit about how we're going to paint today. All right, artists. So once we have these set up at our table, you want to make sure first things first, especially my leading artists who are going to be the ones to pass these out today, just like we take care of our watercolor trays, if we are tilting these in any way or moving them around, all of this paint that's in here will mix together. So it's extremely important that you're carrying them flat, just like we would carry our regular watercolor trays, until you get to your table. Then you may open them up. Now, when you're opening them, you'll notice this lid here is a perfect place that we can use to mix our paint colors, because we never ever want to mix them inside of here. You guys may notice, looking at some of the colors, that some kids may not have taken very great care of them. For example, I've got a little bit of purple paint kind of mixing in with my blue. You'll notice most of our whites are a little bit messy. Now, the nice part about the white is that your clay is already going to be white when you get it today. If you look at this one, for example, this is what your clay is going to look like fresh out of the kiln. So if you do need a little bit of white, instead of using this, you can always just leave your clay white as well. That's a great option for you. Now, looking over here, I tried to choose colors that I thought you guys would use the most of. This paint in particular is called acrylic and tempera paint. It's a mixture of the two. This paint is excellent for clay. What color you're seeing here, this is the color it will stay on your clay. So we're not using our glaze that changes in the kiln. We're using this special paint instead. That way you can see the color you're using. You know that if you paint with this tan that I made, this tan will look tan on your clay the whole time. Okay, there should be a few open areas in your trays that are empty, like these ones. There's no paint in them. Those should stay empty. We do not mix inside of here. Now, if there was a special color that you wanted to make, let's say maybe, for example, I wanted to make a lighter green, I could take a little bit of my white, put it on my tray. Notice that I'm not using too much space because I want to leave some room for my other classmates. Now, if I go to try to dip it in the green, I've still got white paint on my brush. So first things first, we need to clean it with the water. And this is the best tip that I can give you. Always wipe it with a towel. You have to wipe it with a towel every single time. And I like to check it just to make sure there's no leftover paint on there. I'm going to take a little bit of my green. We're going to mix them together. Now I've got a nice light green that I can use on my clay. So you can absolutely mix colors together as long as you're mixing them on here. Now keep in mind that if you are the one who mixed the color on the tray, you are the one responsible for cleaning the tray. Okay, so if you mix on here, we can't put this back on top. That's going to go ahead and mix it in and ruin some of our paint. This has to be taken to the sink and scrubbed clean before putting it back on. Now let's talk a little bit about the clay itself. Now I went ahead and pulled a few projects from your grade levels just so you can see what these should eventually start looking like. This was a student in another class. She spent some time making her donut, and you can tell how much time she took on this. She used some of that brown paint color and a little bit of the tan to make a chocolate donut. She painted some icing and some different sprinkles, and she designed a pretty awesome plate too. She spent some time going in and filling all of that white space. You can tell that these are finished because you can tell that she went back and filled in any white area that was left. You may have to paint more than one layer today to make sure you completely fill and cover your clay. Now, something else that's interesting about this is you can absolutely paint on the bottom if you would like to. Now, keep in mind, if you paint on the bottom, it may make a mess on your table, so you are responsible for cleaning that mess when you're done. But that is an option for you that we haven't had before, where you can paint the bottom. Especially my class that's making these little tacos, I went ahead and practiced on this one. Keep in mind that when you're getting in here, it might be a little bit tricky, but if you use the skinny brushes, that's going to help you get inside. Looking all the way around, since I wanted to complete my taco shell, I painted both the sides, the bottom, and I even hit some of the inside pieces too. So that's a great option for you as well. All right, artists, once you finish painting your clay, you double checked that you don't have any white showing. You maybe made more than one layer just to ensure that you covered it completely. You're going to carefully bring your clay project back to your turn-in box. If you're unsure of where this is, ask your guest teacher, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you with that. Okay? When you set these down, be careful with them. We don't want them to break. Now, let's talk about cleanup. It's the most important part of painting clay because a lot of you will have paint on your table. You are responsible for all of the paint on your table all yourself, meaning it's not your leading artist's job to clean up your mess. That's on you, especially before you go free draw. Our guest teacher should not see anybody coloring or free drawing if they still have a mess on their table. In fact, my guest teacher, I'm going to tell you, if you see somebody that did not clean their mess and is free drawing, I'd like you to take their free draw away from them because they have not done what they needed to earn that free draw time. Okay? Now, things that you can use to clean on your tables. I do have sponges in our sink. If you look at this picture right here, you can use those sponges on our tables. However, if you use a sponge, you need to squeeze it in the sink first before taking it to your table. You also are responsible for any of the water on the table. If you're scrubbing your table and you leave a puddle of water, it's going to leave a huge mess. You need to make sure that you have a dry towel handy so you can clean up any of the water that you've used to scrub your table. Okay? Another thing is our handy scrubbers. So these are always and have always been sitting right next to our sponges. You can use these. They're excellent scrubbers, especially when you're having to clean something like this. All I would do is take this lid, put it in the sink, grab a sponge scrubber or a little brush scrubber, and I would scrub it right off under some running water, and boom, it cleans in like 3 seconds. Super, super easy, super convenient. You just need to make sure that when you're done using this, you rinse that brush out, put it back where you got it for the next person. Okay? Last but not least, guys, just make sure that you're working as a team. Teamwork really does make a dream work in here. I totally understand if your leading artist wants to lead cleaning your table, but we should all be having our part in helping out with those. On top of that, please make sure that once we've cleaned up all of our tools, they get placed back on our paint counter the right way. You are not the only class painting today. Therefore, we need to have it set up for our next group. This picture that you see here has everything laid out exactly how it should be. Brushes back in the brush container after you've rinsed your brush clean. Water cups go back in the box where the water cups belong. Same thing, putting sponges away and paint trays back away. Okay? At any time, if you're unsure of what to do, please ask your guest teacher for help. Okay, I don't want any clay getting broken. I want everybody having lots of fun, but doing it in a way that we're still following expectations and staying safe. I hope you guys have a really, really good time today. I cannot wait to see what you paint. I also can't wait to get an excellent report on all of our cleaning skills too. Make me proud, and I will see you after spring break.